Welcome to Wallace on Wire. Today we're talking about a political earthquake rumbling through Parti Pribumi Bersatu, Malaysia, commonly known as Bersatu. Imagine a significant segment of a political party deciding the path to survival means challenging their own chairman, making that sentiment very public. That's precisely the high-stakes drama unfolding, and it could really reshape the entire political landscape.
What's truly fascinating here is the sheer scale and audacity of this internal challenge. It isn't just a few voices here and there. We're looking at approximately 120 Bersatu division chiefs, all putting their names on a declaration.
Wow, 120.
Yeah, and their message is, well, it's pretty clear. They want Tan Sri Muhyiddin to step down from the top leadership position, and they're proposing the current deputy chairman, Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin, as his successor. This isn't some quiet backroom deal. It's very much out in the open.
120 division chiefs, that's a substantial block within any party, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's not simply being painted as, a personal thing or just a power grab, at least not officially. This move is being framed as a strategic necessity for Bersatu's very future.
Precisely. Muhammad Isa, who's the Bersatu Ampang division chief, explicitly stated that this whole declaration was put together with the party's survival in mind, especially thinking ahead to the 16th general election. So it's being presented less about personalities and more as a cold, hard calculation.
A calculation about what exactly? Electoral viability. Staying relevant.
Yeah, both of those. Their ability to remain a relevant force. The stakes, as they see it, are pretty high. Existential, almost.
Survival does sound incredibly serious. So what exactly are the pressing fears? What's pushed these division chiefs to take such a dramatic step against their own leader?
It seems to boil down to a couple of critical concerns. It's all centered around winning elections and, the complex art of forming government coalitions here in Malaysia.
Right, coalition politics.
Exactly. Firstly, there's a real worry that if Bersatu continues on its current path, maybe particularly if it keeps up a, let's say, confrontational stance towards Partis Islam Si Malaysia, or PAS, then PAS might eventually decide to just, abandon the partnership.
And that would be bad because?
Because, as we know, the United Malays National Organization, UMNO, has already slammed the door shut. They've openly rejected any kind of cooperation with Bersatu.
Okay. So if UMNO is a no and PAS becomes shaky, that really narrows their options, doesn't it?
It puts them in a very precarious position. It shrinks their viable pathways to power significantly. It makes them ask, can Bersatu actually get enough votes to win, to form a government if PAS isn't there? PAS being their main Malay-centric ally right now.
That really highlights a fundamental point in Malaysian politics, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That no single party can really govern alone.
Absolutely. Cooperation isn't just nice to have. It's seen as essential for any stable government in our system. So these division chiefs are basically voicing a fear of political isolation. If PAS finds a better deal elsewhere, maybe even with UMNO.
Which would be a huge shift.
A massive shift. It could create a very powerful Malay-centric bloc, potentially leaving Bersatu at a major disadvantage.
And what would that disadvantage look like on the ground? Losing seats?
It could mean losing seats they currently hold, yeah. Or maybe even worse, having PAS actually run against them in areas Bersatu considers its own strongholds.
Ouch. Your former ally becoming your direct competitor.
Right. It would seriously weaken their overall position, maybe push them into being a permanent opposition party. They even mentioned, that past experience where they thought they had the numbers, 115 votes apparently, but still couldn't form the government.
Yes, I remember that period. A stark reminder of how fragile things can be.
Exactly. A reminder of how close, yet how far they were from power. It's a harsh lesson in coalition building.
That experience must really cast a shadow over their strategic thinking now. It's like they're saying, we need stronger, more reliable alliances, and the current leadership isn't getting us there.
That seems to be the core message, yes. The pressure to find a clear path back to power is enormous. And any perceived mistake in managing alliances can spark this kind of internal fire, especially when survival feels like it's on the line.
Now, it's interesting. Muhammad Isa also said this isn't meant as a hostile overthrow of Tan Sri Muhyiddin. It's framed more as asking him to reconsider his own past comments about an experienced successor taking over democratically. They even suggested he could stay on as an advisor. That feels like a slightly softer touch, doesn't it? trying to manage the exit.
It does seem that way. The framing is quite deliberate. It aims to present this as, a constructive internal discussion for the party's good, not a coup.
Yep.
It tries to keep a level of respect while still pushing for a major leadership change.
And it also touched on internal party health. Something about sycophants.
Yes, that was mentioned. A stated concern that perhaps sycophants might be influencing leadership decisions.
Sycophants. That's a strong word. What's the implication there? That the leadership isn't getting good advice.
That seems to be the implication. A worry that maybe the leadership isn't getting the unvarnished truth about the party standing or the real situation on the ground. If leaders are surrounded by people who only tell them what they want to hear, decisions might get disconnected from reality.
Right, detached from what's actually happening electorally or with the grassroots members.
Exactly. It brings up questions about how democratic succession really works inside a party, especially when these big strategic questions are at play.
Makes sense. So speaking of process, what about the party's own rules? Does the party Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia Constitution say anything about this kind of challenge or tenure limits?
Well, the Constitution does state that the Bersatu chairman position has a limit only 3 terms allowed. And the current leadership, Tan Sri Muhyiddin included, they were reelected just last November. So their term technically runs until 2027.
So constitutionally speaking, he's well within his term.
That's right. From a strict tenure perspective, yes. So this challenge isn't about him overstaying his term limit. It's more about a perceived loss of confidence in his strategic direction before the term is naturally up.
Which makes his own comments at the recent Bersatu General Assembly quite significant then. He openly talked about an ousting Muhyiddin movement.
He did. He addressed it directly, urging members to stick to the party constitution and avoid causing trouble or discord.
So he's clearly aware and acknowledging the pressure publicly. That suggests it's more than just whispers.
Absolutely. It signals these tensions have really reached the surface, enough for the chairman himself to tackle it head-on in public. Calling for everyone to follow the Constitution is a classic leadership move, isn't it? Asserting authority, reminding people of the rules to try and, calm things down and maintain discipline.
His public acknowledgement definitely suggests the discontent is pretty deep and maybe quite widespread.
It would seem so.
Looking at this whole situation, it really does show how fluid and, well, intensely strategic Malaysian politics is. It's not just about election day. It's this constant game of managing alliances, managing internal power, just to ensure long-term survival.
It really underscores the constant calculations parties have to make. Who are our partners? What are the trade-offs? And this kind of internal challenge coming from fear of losing elections or being sidelined, it just shows the immense pressure leaders are under to deliver winning strategies.
Especially for a party like Bersatu, maybe. Relatively newer compared to, say, UMNO or PAS. Maintaining that cohesion must be extra tough.
Definitely. Cohesion while navigating these very complex alliances is a huge challenge. You see some comments online, people saying things like, parties rise and fall on alliances, not just promises.
That's a sharp observation. It's not just an internal Bersatu issue then. It's kind of a reflection of the broader political reality here. It makes you wonder, when a party feels its survival is threatened, is this kind of internal shakeup ultimately helpful? Does it force a necessary change?
Or does it just create deeper wounds?
Exactly. Does it strengthen them by forcing a strategic rethink, or does it just destabilize them even more in the long run?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And only time will tell for Bersatu. It's certainly a stark reminder that political survival is this incredibly complex mix of alliances, foresight, and keeping your own house in order.
This has been a really fascinating look into the challenges facing one of our major political parties. The decisions being made right now could absolutely reshape things for years to come.
Indeed. A powerful reminder of the high stakes involved.
Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.